You got it, guys. You see it. She is here.
Oh my God.
Justin's even.
That's brutal.
We were discussing the chastity belt just before we kick off the show, but see, this is the key to the car.
How did you guys come
normally,
up with that?
one time we were filming, it was sitting like this, and I was furious when I figured out later. Justin, show everybody what you have on your computer.
Did you just say you got embarrassed?
I did.
It was there the whole episode.
I can't.
It was all you could see.
I can't imagine you being embarrassed. Like, that's crazy.
That is true.
Even I can get embarrassed.
Like, I'm actually
I can be
flabbergasted.
mortified. I've even been mortified before. Mortified.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Mortified.
By something you've done?
Go figure.
I feel like...
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Father Knows Something. And you know what I do know? The little straggler who came out with Morgan about 9 years ago, and came for a week, stayed for a year.
Yeah, I think our 10-year anniversary is this September, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
She's here in the flesh. Say hello to our Lauren.
Otherwise known as your biggest hater.
No. Well, no, she's not my
No.
biggest hater. She's the one that just says that Father knows nothing.
Yeah.
So she's here to prove herself right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Justin, he's with us. And
I is.
And we're just here to have a good time tonight. So what do you have for us?
Well, what's the update on the knee over there? Because that's where we left it on the last one.
We left it on the knee that I was going to go to the doctor. I made it to the doctor. It is not healthy. I took x-rays. We're waiting to get the results. He said ice and ibuprofen. I figured Tylenol. I was looking with my eyes, which can't see real close when it's dark. And I thought it said ibuprofen and Tylenol, but I was wrong. I was pointed that out from a friend of mine tonight. So I need ibuprofen to go bring down the inflammation, apparently.
You said that very...
Inflammation.
Yeah.
Not information, inflammation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well,
There's the update. Other than that, I don't know anything.
so more to come.
More to come.
All right. Well, tonight
Yes.
we are going into the world of finding your peace.
Oh, inner peace.
Have you found it yet?
I find it every night. I've lost by morning, but I find it again in the evening.
Okay.
And by the way, guys, Lauren kind of wanted to know how this thing works with us because she really has only kind of popped in on the set once before.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome back. Glad you're here.
Well,
You kind of just learned by doing, you know.
I'm also just, I'm like, why do I feel so weird? I haven't recorded without Morgan.
It's a whole new gig.
I think you'll do okay.
Do you know what I'm saying though? Like, like I'm like,
But we've been on stage before. We've done things and talk back and forth. It's no different. No,
yeah, but Morgan's been there.
it's okay. We can do it without her.
Step into the light.
We'll be fine. You're with your old dad. He knows something.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay, number one.
Number one.
To start off, I love THT and FKS. Y'all feel like a second family that's much kinder than my first.
Aw.
P.S. If you need a name, you can call me Lexi.
I love Lexi.
So I recently started talking to the most amazing guy I've ever met. He checks all my boxes, and there's no red flags like in my past relationships. We were good friends about 3 years ago and recently got back in touch with mutual feelings for each other. The problem is I have commitment issues because of bad past relationships, so I'm fighting so hard to keep myself from self-sabotaging this relationship. I feel such butterflies and joy when we talk, but I'm so terrified of getting hurt again that a voice in my head keeps telling me to quit now, or ghost him, or do something to end the relationship. I don't want to end the relationship, but I want to protect myself. I don't know how I can get out of my current mindset and allow myself to feel safe and vulnerable in a relationship. My ideal outcome is to get over my fears of commitment / wanting to self-sabotage and be able to commit to my amazing relationship.
Lauren is the guest of honor today.
Oh, no, please. I would love to hear Father knows something first.
But you may have great expertise in this.
You know, this is a hard one for a lot of people. It's something that I've experienced for sure. I remember I went on a date with somebody who was awesome and successful and nice and kind, and we had a great time. And the next day, I just freaked out.
You look like you're having stress just talking about it.
Well, I'm like revisiting how I felt, and I remember thinking like, oh no, he might ghost me. And so I texted him and I was like, I had so much fun with you, but I think we'd be better as friends. And after that, he like gave me a call and was like, hey, like thank you so much for letting me know. I really appreciate you giving the time. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. I hope everything's going well. Like, I'm still a friend if you want to reach out. And I just felt so stupid when I told that story in front of a group of people. Like, instead of just letting it play out, was so afraid that he was going to ghost me and I would be embarrassed and get my feelings hurt that I wanted to be the one to do it first. And I think that was kind of a moment for me that made me think about this aspect in general, where the most beautiful, funny, handsome, amazing person in the world sometimes won't be a match with another amazing, beautiful person. It doesn't mean that you're less than. And I think that just accepting the fact that it's okay if it doesn't work out. It's okay. Like, if you're not a match, helps you get through these type of moments. Like in her head, she's like, this guy's amazing, so I want to run. Well, why don't you just try it out? Allow yourself to just accept that if it doesn't work out, you're going to be okay, and then see where it goes. I'm sweating.
Got anxiety from this one.
A little bit.
Did you?
Yeah. I'm like gonna pass out right now. Is everyone okay? Are we okay? Anyone want to go next?
A gas leak? Is a gas leak?
No, we're fine.
Well, see, the thing that you guys also do is like you're talking to an individual person, and that's a lot of pressure because usually, in Two Hot Takes, we're just talking kind of out of our asses sometimes. And this is stressful because you're actually speaking to an individual. And
by the way, we tell them that we don't profess that we know everything.
Well, that's in the label.
But what we profess is that we're going to give you, without judgment, a wonderful thought of what we think, and then you can just process it the way you want to process it and come up with your own conclusion.
And then everyone else, the people who have the real advice, give it in the comments.
Because they know it all.
Yeah.
Do they get mad at you guys in the comments?
No.
Okay, nice.
No, never.
No, we're all here just trying to help.
I'm safe here.
This is
Lauren, Mark safe. Cool.
Lauren, this is a safe place. No one's going to hold you accountable. You're just giving your thoughts, and they're going to be really happy that you share some of your feelings and some of your own experiences. They appreciate it. Want me to go next?
Yeah.
Okay. So FKS is up. He's at the plate. Ball's pitched. Lauren is, I'm going to agree with Lauren on the basic answer. You got to allow yourself to go see where it goes. You can certainly be honest with your feelings. I find that when you're open and honest with your feelings with somebody, then they understand why you're acting weird, and it actually helps you not be weird. So the fact that you think that he is so wonderful, some people say, oh, you got to play the game or you're going to scare him away. Well, if being yourself scares him away, it's best that he's gone. If he's mature enough to accept what you really feel and the feelings you're going through, and he can help you develop those feelings and make them real, more real and more stable, then you'll find that your relationship can even go deeper. So my answer is be totally brutally honest with what's going on in your life. Don't try to play a game, but be yourself. And the more comfortable that you are, and if you see he's comfortable, then there's a chance that this thing can really grow. And if if your behavior is crazy and erratic, how can you even give it a possible shot? You are going to sabotage it. And if that's what you want to do, maybe you want to go get some assistance on how not to do that if you really think there's something there. I've been here. Met somebody that has blown my boots off, and I thought they were wonderful and I thought they could be the one. And it may not have started that way, but it ends up that way. And I've gone to them and said, I like you. And I never imagined that I would get these feelings. But if you see me behaving a little erratic today, it's because I'm so excited that I get to hang out with you. And I really want to see where we go. And I've said that.
Yeah.
And that person had two choices. One, turn around and run away, or two, give me the chance to see where our relationship would go. And I've never seen them turn around and run away. If it was real and it came from my heart, they've given that opportunity to see where it can go and develop.
There you go.
So that's my thought.
Well, and you have to put yourself out there to find that out. You have
do.
to become vulnerable, which is the hardest part of dating, of relationships, of any of it, because once you've been hurt a bunch of times, you just start to think, well, maybe there's something wrong with me, or everyone out there sucks. There's no one out there for me, which naturally makes sense to be put in a place like that when you keep putting yourself out there, keep getting crushed, and you're just like, why do I even keep trying?
They weren't the one in the million, but this guy could be the one in the million.
When you get one that you describe here as an amazing relationship, after all the bad, it can feel too good to be true. And then the reverse thing happens. Now you're the one who could get in your own way and screw it up. So I think it's easier said than done, but I always think about taking each of those past bad relationships, putting them in a box and storing them away. They're totally, completely separate. And that goes for your current relationship. That is totally separate. There's nothing related, because this should be treated as its own thing without any relevance to the past, which again is easier said than done. And sometimes it can take therapy. Sometimes it can just take really working on it yourself. And every time these feelings come up, you figure out the ways to deal with them. It can be talking to your partner, it can be getting it out in the open, because that can help a lot. I think if it would be brought up again and again and again to your partner, then on their end, it almost starts to seem like a red flag. So you gotta, there's a gray area, there's a fine balance here. But I don't think that means you can't bring it up. It's just, naturally that's how I would feel if someone kept saying, well, I'm so scared you're going to hurt me. You're going to hurt me. Well, to me, I'm like, I wouldn't, but now that you are assuming that and thinking of me like that, then there might be things to reconsider. So it can go either way.
Actually, now that you mention it, maybe I do want to hurt you. No, I get what you're saying. Sorry, I guess we don't really joke here, do we? Sorry.
You can do that.
Okay, I'm like striking out.
You just be you.
Well, I was just gonna say too, like off of everything you guys are saying, and what she mentioned is, how do I get myself to feel safe? And I think one of the big things to look inward for yourself is finding safety within yourself, with being alone, with or without a person by your side. Working on finding safety, just being comfortable there. And that way it won't feel so like scarcity mode, like, is he going to run away? Am I going to scare him away if I bring it up too much? And I also think that, like, if you do bring it up too much, if it does scare him, then he's also not your person. And then that's okay. And, I have a friend who got out of a few bad relationships, and every single one that she had, she always felt like she needed that relationship to learn more about herself, to become the best version of herself, to find the next best person for herself. And so I would just encourage you to look at it that way, that if you do quote unquote scare him away, then he wasn't your right person. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right match. Like, you need to have somebody who is able to work through these things with you that you struggle with. And if they can't, then it's not the right timing and maybe you need to focus on yourself. But yeah, I think that everything that you guys said,
Lauren, you brought the most important thing up. The person that's in your life doesn't make you your life. It's you make yourself your life, and you have to be comfortable with it yourself. And it's great to have them as an addition and sharing, walking down the road of life with them. But if they're not there, you still have to be able to function and have your life.
Yeah.
And that's a great place to be, and that's balance. So as much as I say, go for the relationship, I also say, just try to relax and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the walk.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it for number 1. Now we're going to roll on to number 2.
Number 2. Hello, FKS crew.
Hello.
Hello.
I've been a longtime listener of Two Hot Takes and recently started listening to this podcast.
And look who you got. You got your favorite person right here. There she is.
Justin.
I always look forward to hearing your takes. I'm not sure if my write-in is one specific problem, but rather a series of events that built up to one weekend in March that completely busted open the floodgates of my identity, future, sexuality, and career goals. I guess I'm just looking for some solid fatherly advice. I'm a 25-year-old woman. I've been living in one province away from my parents since I was 21. I skipped post-secondary. I just felt the need to go away and figure things out on my own. So, that weekend, I'd been seeing this guy, 29 male, for a couple weeks and started really liking him. For context, I've never had a boyfriend before. He was genuinely the first and only person who's ever felt like a full body yes for me. We ended up hooking up, and it was my first time. I told him about my inexperience, and to his credit, he really tuned in, respected my pace, and I felt zero pressure to perform anything, just receive, which I deeply appreciated. Then, after sex, he dropped the bomb. He wasn't just fresh out of a long-term relationship. He was married. Still legally married. As in, they had only separated 6 months earlier. After that, he started doing the classic slow fade. And if that wasn't enough, the next morning, my car was totaled in a complete freak accident.
Oh my God.
It felt like everything that gave me control or autonomy in my life was slipping. My first time, this guy fading out, my car and independence gone, all in one weekend. That weekend jolted me into a new reality, and now here I am, burned out, stuck in a job I hate, and seriously considering moving back home and going back to school. That 1 week with that married guy was the last time I felt truly alive, like my whole nervous system was lit up. I crossed a threshold, and ever since then, life has felt dull and flat in comparison. I've gotten a new car since, and I'm trying to put myself back together, but that hollowed out feeling hasn't gone away. I'm not sure there's an ideal outcome here, but I'm weighing the pros and cons of leaving the city I've called home for 4 years to move back in with my parents and start over in school. Any thoughts or wisdom would be appreciated.
Danine Cacapardo.
Oh, what? Come again?
That was very good. Let's try that again. Danine Cacapardo. And you're supposed to say, what the hell does that mean?
I think that was what I just did.
Yeah, well, I want to hear it clearly.
Louder!
I went through the exact same thing that you just wrote about. And I met this woman, and I was young, and I went nuts for her. And everything seemed to click. And the next thing you know, things got rocky. And it felt like it was evaporating. And that same day, I took my dad. I was a young guy. I took my dad's car and I backed right into a giant telephone pole.
Oh,
And
you really do have a similar story.
yeah, and so the fact that your car got damaged or you had an accident, you were not in your right mind when this thing started evaporating. You're already in a sideways spiral. So don't take it, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Now, where I thought I was going to get shot from my father for destroying his car, it was quite the opposite. He was very, very understanding. He says, don't worry about it. I know you're going through a tough time. We don't always behave the way we want to behave when we're being challenged this way, especially in our hearts. So, cut yourself some slack. And I couldn't believe it. And the answer is I did find other love. I did find relationships in the future. I did able to start, realizing that these things can come and they can go. And you just kind of roll with it. And yeah, you get heartbroken a little bit. It's okay. It's nice to grieve the fact that you had this wonderful feeling. And I know what it is to have that feeling, because let me tell you, Morgan looks when every time I get the feeling and she says, oh, here we go again. And so the bottom line is it's okay. And just recognize this is not your first, it might be your first love. It is certainly not going to be your last. And just take it as a lesson on what to look for, watch the signs, read the room when you're with these people, to really be able to pace yourself. And you'll find yourself that you will be a better pace going into these relationships rather than just making them something that they're really not.
Yeah. And I think that based off of what I'm understanding in this story, it feels like it's a lot about a special moment that you experienced in your life for the first time. Kind of similar to the last story we were talking about, but with this situation, you're looking at this guy as he is this like threshold that you just passed, and this excitement that you want to get back to now without that experience. Like without him, it feels dull. But it sounds like it might just be you experienced something in your life that you really love, and you attached it to this person who is really just a figure passing by in your life. At least that's how I'm reading it. It doesn't sound like were dating and necessarily in love.
Well, he certainly wasn't being upfront and honest with her before he went to bed with her.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that this is just an experience in life where it feels that way now, but it's a temporary feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to pass. It's naturally.
And I also say, you got the experience, an amazing adrenaline rush of love and all the things that come with it. And that's a good thing. At least you know what to expect when you really do fall with the right person. It's something like this, but then it gets more stable and it gets deeper. Don't deny yourself meeting people that you can really develop the right relationship, timing it right, and you'll grow together. And you won't let someone just come in your life and take from you without you growing with them, and you know that it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, yes, that whole situation's a big part of this, but for me, I'm trying to figure out why that opened the floodgates of your identity, future sexuality, and career goals. Is this the kind of tipping point? Was this the thing that pushed you over the edge where you've been wanting change in your life in a big way that isn't just relationship-wise? Mm-hmm. Because this experience seemed to open some door in your mind where you're like, you know what? That was the sign that I've been waiting. I've been wanting to go back to school. I've been thinking about that. You know what? Maybe I'm just going to do it. Maybe it just took you out of this, cycle you've been in, or this rut you've been stuck in, and made you realize, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go do what I want and take some more control over my life and consider these big changes, which, as you set up above, it's not one problem. It's kind of a series of different things. And it is, but they're all related because I think it made you realize something. And so if you're feeling that way, if you're tempted, should you move home and go try going back to school? Why not? Why not? You can always move back to where you are and go back to whatever you're doing. But if this is making you consider some big life changes, I would try to determine if it simply just is pushing you to actually do what you've been wanting and putting off, or if it's messing with you that much that you're questioning everything in your life. We need to see what side of that we're on and go from there, because those are two very different things.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah, I would say kind of looking inward and thinking and realizing, are you wanting to run away because you are sad, or are you feeling inspired to do something different with your life? Like, what are you sitting in right now? And if it's because you're feeling miserable and you want to run away, then I wouldn't make a decision while you're in that state. I would wait until you can get a little bit more stable before you make that decision. If you feel stabilized and you still are inspired to start something new, beautiful outcome.
Yeah. Lot to go through here.
There are some thoughts, but before you do anything, you just really have to do anything you do for the future. You have to do because that's what you want to do. And you have to kind of follow your instincts to say, let's try this, or let's keep going down this path, or whatever. You have to experience all this stuff. And the fact that you had this experience, as much as it's tragic and it hurt your heart, you also got to experience a high of knowing what it is to really care for somebody and be excited about somebody. So there's two sides to that coin.
Yeah, definitely growth. That's like such a story about a moment where it's painful to grow, but you are definitely growing from that.
Yeah, it's called working. I call it working the muscle. You work it, you get stronger.
Nice.
So let us know what happens. There's a lot of different places this one could lead. So keep us in the loop.
Keep us in the know.
Okay.
Number 3.
On to number 3. Hi, Father Knows and the THT fam. I've been a longtime listener, and I just wanted to start out with how thankful I am to all of you for producing these episodes, for helping me get through some of the harder parts of my life. I am 22 female, and I just graduated college a month ago with a bachelor's in biology. I was offered a job that I accepted while in my last semester of college and officially started the Monday after graduation. I am working in clinical trials and am trying to navigate everything that comes with a full-time job and trying to balance my personal life alongside it. The workday typically starts at 7:30, but if patients are scheduled earlier, it can start as early as 5 a.m. and ends around 4 p.m., but I rarely get out by then. I have an hour-long drive to work, so by the time I get home, I have about 4 hours or less to myself before I have to go to sleep, which I spend eating, showering, and prepping for the next day. If I'm lucky, I'll have time to watch a show or play a video game for a little bit. The job is stressful, and I'm nowhere near being done with training. I feel like I make a million mistakes, and there's always something new going on, something else to learn, or things that need to be done, to the point where I can rarely take even a full lunch break. And I can forget about taking a 15-minute break. On top of that, I've never worked with this many people before. Picky patients, stressed out coworkers, and don't even get me started on the doctors. I have worked since I was 15, full-time jobs in the summer and part-time during school, so I thought I was prepared for the sudden decrease in my personal life, but I am most certainly not. I have a boyfriend of almost 4 years now, whom I love very much. However, I'm starting to feel guilty and sad that I can't spend as much time with him as usual. The 4 hours that I have make me extremely protective of the time that I have to myself, and more often than not, I want to be left alone with nothing to do and no obligations. So, my question to you guys is, how do I navigate this new world that I've put myself into? How can I better balance my personal and work life? And how in the world do people manage to have enough time to spend with their loved ones after working far away and for long hours? Ideal outcome, find a way to balance everything in my life, get enough sleep, and survive the work week.
If you heard me slightly laugh, that's because I'm like, did I write this? Did I send this one in? Just kidding. But like, honestly,
You got it.
I need advice on this. I also have been having a hard time with balancing everything. So I'm going to listen to what you guys have to say.
Well, I get it. And, I've had, I'm 67, be 68, and I've had lifetimes of, different job occupations, or however you want to say it, just different jobs and different requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the jobs when I was young is I would, prepare, I would be sent out to take possession of a business out of town, and I'd be gone for 3 months. And we had a 3-month window to get something done, and I would find myself working 2 or 3 shifts in a 3-shift day. And I would go work for 6 weeks, 8 weeks straight, trying to work in 2 hours here and 2 hours there of sleep, while these workers, the people I was managing was getting things done. And it was a challenge, but that was what life was, to build where you finally get to. So the point is, it doesn't go on forever, but you also have to make sure that in your life that you do give yourself the health, because these companies will eat you up. Now, if you're in this rat trap and that's what you want, then take it, and that's just your rat trap. Or otherwise, you're going to have to find your way off that train and find yourself into a train that's more realistic. If it might be self-employment, doing something. And by the way, self-employment is not always the thing, but you get to control those hours, and at least you're not being abused. I've seen these people, they're literally abused, doing everything they're supposed to be doing, and they're great workers, but management has their head up their butts. So the answer really is, you have to set the goal, you have to set the standard, what you're willing to accept. And if it's not healthy for you, you got to get out. If you need to have time with your loved one, you need to have time with your family, you're going to have to get off that train if you can't get it.
I mean, control, I think, is a big piece of it, because for my entire adult life, I have been self-employed in every different thing that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I have not worked for somebody,
Mm-hmm.
but that comes at a cost. I wouldn't even say I have 4 hours of free time when I get done working. Generally, it's you work, get to the point where you take care of the horses and you go to sleep. I mean, it's not all bad because you control the narrative. Yeah, you control the hours, but you're still under pressure to really make it happen because you don't have that guaranteed check, and you never leave work at work. Work is always with you. So there's a difference there.
There are trade-offs, and there's a way of managing it also.
So I think it really comes down to, I mean, at least for me, understanding that I'm in a whole different world being self-employed, but with respect to the limited time you have, I think it really becomes, you got to choose exactly how you want to spend that time, what's meaningful to you. I think if you want to prioritize sleep, then you lose maybe an hour of that free time to prioritize sleep. Maybe this is just a season of life where when you're at the bottom, you have to work a whole bunch, but once you get some seniority, it changes, because you also have to think about, like, how do people do this with kids? And when people have kids, that's when you really don't have time. That's when you really don't sleep. But people do it. So for me, a lot of the time, I've just found joy in different things. It's not, oh, I need to play a video game, or I need to do this for 2 hours. It's more like, just the little break I take, Morgan and I talk about it on the show, where we go out and hang out with the horses and do that at night, or whatever little break it is. You appreciate the little things, and those end up becoming the big things and become enough. It depends on the person, but it's so personal, and it's so dependent on, if you really truly hate your job, then we're looking at a bigger change. So it could be any of those. It's hard without really, really detailed context.
The biggest thing is, you're going to have to define how you want to really live your life. And look, some people go to medical school. This is what they buy into to go to medical school. They have to put these hours in to get through it, and then they're on call, and they actually sleep, on a desk at work, and it's crazy. But if this is a job that you feel that is going to ease up, maybe you can deal with it. If you feel that this is going to be the rest of your life, you got to think twice. Is this what you really want?
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I would probably just kind of look at your long-term goals and what you really want. If it's paying you a ton of money and you think, well, I'm going to grind this out for X amount of years and then I'm going to do X, Y, Z different, that might be your plan. If it's just really not something you're overall happy with, then you might need to come up with a new plan.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say, the best thing to do in those long drives every day, call family, call your partner, hang out, chat, because who knows, you could talk to your boyfriend for that whole hour you're driving. Then when you get home, we don't have to catch up anymore. It's let's just relax and watch a movie.
Right. And if you don't have a boyfriend, you can certainly turn on Father Knows Something and listen to us.
I think you can do that if you have a boyfriend too.
Oh, we have 200 episodes for you to go enjoy. Knock yourself out.
Wait, how many episodes is it?
I don't know. It's like 180.
Nice.
In there.
Nice.
Okay.
Here we
Okay.
go. Let's pop on to number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Starting right off with a question. Should I quit my toxic job
Yes.
even though it helps me pay my college education? Hey, Jerry and fam, I've been a longtime listener of THT and recently started listening to FKS. Please excuse any mistakes. English is not my first language. I'm currently struggling at work due to a toxic supervisor, and the situation is honestly a bit messy to explain. To keep it short, this supervisor has been accusing me of not doing my job and not showing up on Saturdays, even though he knows I study on Saturdays. When I first signed my contract, I'm in Chile, it didn't say anything about working on Saturdays. In fact, it's a special type of contract here that says I can come in at any time as long as I get the job done. Because of this supervisor's complaints, my boss is now asking me to work on the weekends. The problem is, if I quit, I have no idea when I'll find another job, and I'm paying for university on my own. I feel stuck. People around me keep telling me to, quote, suck it up because it's a good job, but I honestly don't know what to do anymore. Any advice would mean a lot. Thank you. Ideal outcome, having more clarity on what to do and how to do it.
The OP said, I have to work. I mean, I have to study. I can't work on Saturday. It's not even an option. So if that's not the option, and the agreement when they got the job was do the work, I would go to your boss and clarify it and say, the bottom line is this is what I thought it was. And if it's not, we need to talk about it and see what they have to say. And at the same time, I would be looking for another job. Depends what they have to say.
I think you always should be looking for another job, not like applying and considering, but just keeping your options open, keeping in mind what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because you never know. And you could land in something that you always dreamed of. But in this one, it's like, yeah, what does the contract say? Let's get that sorted. Because if I can work whenever I want, I'm going to work whenever I want. The flip side, are we getting the job done? And if you say I'm not getting the job that I'm contracted to do done, but I am, based on what we've discussed, then what's the deal?
Yeah.
Why are we having this all of a sudden? Because weekends are not going to work. So
No, I think you said that really well. I think that's just your first step, is just talking to your supervisors and talking about how your weekends are your study days, and trying to, and asking them to go over the expectations and contract so that there's more clarity, because you need to fit that in because it's important to you to get your education.
And was I right that the boss of the company hired her, or the supervisor hired her?
unsure, but the supervisor is the one having the issue. So now the boss is getting involved.
So the bottom line is that they have to really talk to the person that hired them, so they can really set out the expectation, because they had the conversation. And if the conversation is now denied that ever happened, then they can rework it out and say, this is why I would never have taken that job, knowing this, because I have to study on Saturday, maybe Saturday and Sunday. Whatever that time is, it has to be identified. And that way there's no one else that can continue this pressure and this problem unless you agree to it now. And yeah, I would definitely consistently look for a different job.
For sure.
Especially if there's this conflict going on.
100%. And if you don't know how, I would talk to people there that, just talk to everyone you do know and figure out ways to look for different jobs and just start applying. Now's the time.
Lauren's looking like she's got something else in her head.
No, I think you guys are saying it perfectly.
Thank you. Father knows
Everything. I've never seen him do that laugh. He loved that. It's the best compliment he's ever gotten from me.
Number 6.
No.
Number 5.
Yes. Hi, FKS fam. Longtime listener of THT and recently jumped down the FKS rabbit hole.
Love it.
I don't know what's down that rabbit hole. My husband, male 40, and I, 37 female, have a beautiful child, 4 female, together. It took almost a decade to conceive her after we'd all but given up. My birth was extremely traumatic and life-threatening. After a lot of time and PT, I finally fully recovered after about a year. Prior to the birth, I always pictured having 2 kids. My husband has always been more on board with 1 than 2. About a year ago, we decided to try for a second. My husband was happy to have another, even though, in his words, he's just as content with 1. I told myself I was fine either way, but as we've struggled to conceive again, I found myself having those same old feelings of disappointment and sadness. The longing and ache isn't as strong this time around. I think because I already have a wonderful child and I'm not childless now. I can't even begin to describe the pain of infertility, and I'm glad not to be back there anymore. Still, I'd always pictured myself with 2 kids. Now, after a horrendous start to 2025, with medical emergencies and flooding, we are just a couple months away from our end date to try, set by my husband because he doesn't want to have our second past age 40. I'm happy to honor that. It doesn't look like we will have another. I think, given the events of this year, this is probably the best decision financially. I know with an only child, I will actually have time for hobbies I love and begin to be my own person again as well. However, I am grieving. I may also be heading into perimenopause, and I cried when I realized it. Doctors running tests. It all feels so final. I'm scared I'll regret not having a second, but part of me is also scared I'll regret a second because of what I'd have to give up for now to make that happen. I've been racked with indecision for months, and now the deadline is pretty much here. Any advice on how to find happiness and peace in our decision is appreciated. Ideal outcome: to find peace with our decision, to see the joy of only child life instead of wondering, what if?
Sometimes in life we have to accept. If you guys, want to not get off, the train and see if you can keep, trying to conceive, if that's what the Lord's going to bring you or the universe will bring you, then, I think you guys have been pretty defined with each other that this is it, 1 child. And there's nothing wrong with 1 child. You got a beautiful life ahead of you as a family. My dad once said to me, I wish if I were to do it all over again, I would do 12. And I said, well, then take the money from the other 8 and bring it over here. I could use a new car. But, I have a lot of friends that have 1 kid, they have a full life, and some have no kids and they have a full life. You've been given a gift, and I think it's a wonderful gift. I was very fortunate when I was able to raise 3 kids, and none of them were biologically mine, but I've had a full life raising 1, 2, or 3. It's never been a dull moment, and I was happy with 1. So I know you'll be happy with whatever you develop in your life, and you're able to share.
I love that. I think she was looking for fatherly advice, and I think that was really good. I don't know what it would feel like to go through that. I have a hard time picking which ice cream I'm going to get. So I can sympathize and empathize with you, even though I am not there in life yet. But I agree with you, Jerry. I think like just letting life happen, and if you end up not having a second, that will be okay. If you have a second, that will be okay. They're all beautiful versions of life.
How many people have you known that have kids, and all of a sudden you see their kids are almost like 20 or 20 years old, and then you find out they have an 8-year-old at home. And how did this 8-year-old happen? No one expected it. It was a late surprise.
Yeah.
And it happens, and you never know. I mean, so my answer is to enjoy the gifts that we have, and let's not mourn the ones that have not been brought to us. Let's just enjoy life as we're dealt it.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things in life is when you kind of lay out this roadmap in front of you and you paint this picture of what you want the rest of your life to be. And it's kids, it's what you want, where you want to live, how you want to live, what you want to do, all of these different things. And when you set that roadmap out, it can be very disappointing when things don't align with that grand plan. And I think that's something we pretty much learn all the way up until the end, is that it doesn't always go the way you plan it or the way that you hope it will go.
Yeah.
And we've all experienced that in many different facets and will experience that for the rest of our lives with things that are big and small.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's just some element of learning that lesson a little bit. And, you mentioned the kids that happen unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm.
Those could be with people that only wanted one kid and now they have a second. And then it's kind of the opposite.
I talked to a guy last night, and his dad's 80. And so I said, oh, you must be in your 50s, like 55. He says, no, I'm 39.
Wow.
He goes, I was a surprise.
Nice.
Yeah. And so you just never know what's coming.
Yeah.
You never do. And, I think that's what makes life exciting and awesome and scary. But you kind of just rolling with the cards you're dealt. And
enjoy.
I guess that's why they call it the game of life.
Enjoy the cards you're dealt. And you remember in life, you'd have the little pins would go in the car?
Oh, yeah.
And if a little stork flies over and drops another pin in your car, there you go.
That's true.
I haven't heard that one. I've brought this up on a 2 Outtakes episode, but have you guys ever seen the movie Look Both Ways?
You look both ways?
Look Both Ways, yeah. I want to cry just bringing it up because I just watched it again recently, and I think it's such a beautiful movie and a beautiful concept. But I guess the gist of it, without trying to give anything away, and if people don't want to know anything, just like skip a few seconds. But the gist of it is just 2 versions of life based off of a decision that she makes.
That's cool. Like 2 timelines.
Yeah, exactly. 2 timelines. So, and to me, it's beautiful. And I think it gives me this like peace feeling that whatever decision I made was supposed to be made, and it's okay, and it will work itself out, and it all can be beautiful. So
I get it. I always think of life as like a squirrel going up a tree.
Exactly. It is like
because sometimes the squirrel goes up this side of the tree and ends up going, swinging from other trees and trees and trees, and he never gets back over here. And who knows what that squirrel accomplished over there? But if he came over here, he could have, hit the rattlesnake. You just don't know.
That's right.
I've never heard that before.
It's what branching.
I always picture it as a tree because every time you make a decision, you're creating a different timeline. And then you think about, well, what if I made the other decision? Where would I be?
The rattlesnake.
Like if I had gone Air Force right out of high school instead of choosing music, where now on that tree, that side of the tree, where would I be?
You would not be here. Maybe not.
Maybe you would. Maybe you would end up here.
Might not know any of you.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I could have gone my whole life never knowing Jerry. Imagine that.
Maybe not.
It'd be terrible.
I think it would be terrible too, but maybe not.
Because you wouldn't have your 4th and 5th kids.
Well, I got all my kids.
But it's also, it's crazy to think about, because it's like I almost went to a different college, which same thing.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have met Morgan.
You wouldn't have driven cross country.
Yeah.
Had the car fail halfway through Utah, and then get to be towed from on back of trucks for 1,000 miles.
Exactly. Yeah. Good times. But with my swollen ankle, that was brutal. But then I think about it, I'm like, well, what if me and Morgan made it out to California on our own and met, not in college, met out here separately. And then we still were here today, right now, but we just had a different journey.
Well, the universe sometimes does that kind of stuff.
Well,
exactly. You don't know.
And that's why I think that it's better to just trust that. I don't know. I don't want to say that there's a plan, but trust that whatever happens is okay.
Trust the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust.
Just trust the universe.
Trust the universe. Whatever brings us. You just take just like a batter up at home plate, waiting for the ball to come over.
Yeah.
Just take your best swing. Swing away. On everyone, swing away.
And let us know what you swing for.
From the trees. On the left side of the branch.
Okay.
Is that it? Are we going to do number 6?
Yep.
Okay. We got a number 6, guys. Here we go.
Grand finale.
Nice.
All right. Ready?
I'm with you.
I'm 25 weeks pregnant and have been smoking weed through my whole pregnancy. Yes, my OB knows, and we have been keeping a close eye on the progress of my pregnancy. I really want to stop and feel extremely guilty about it every time I do it, but it has me in such a chokehold and stopping seems impossible. I've tried multiple times to stop, but have been unsuccessful. I want to be sober for myself and especially for this baby, but it feels so out of reach for me. Ideal outcome: quit weed once and for all. Additional info: every time I try to stop, I genuinely can't eat. My stomach starts burning and I get extremely nauseous after eating when I stop smoking. This and the amount of anxiety I feel when I don't smoke is what makes it feel impossible.
You are out of my realm. I really don't know what it is to not, if you're addicted to pot, to have to stop. Because I never been addicted to pot. When I was young, I did have addiction. And I knew that one day I went through a heart palpitation and I knew it wasn't good for me, and I stopped cold turkey. But I was only having this issue for about 2 months, and that was back when I was about 24. So my mind was made up, and I did it by mind. That doesn't mean everybody can do the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely seek some professional assistance and see if they can offer you something that may be less of a possibility of a hindrance to your pregnancy. It's like I said, you are way out of my realm in this. So my suggestion is go seek some professional medical assistance on how to deal with this.
People have this debate on marijuana being addictive versus not addictive. And the reality is that anything can be addictive. My boyfriend knows somebody who went to rehab for video games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually very much okay if you need to reach out, if you need to find a rehab that can help you with this, because, there are a lot of people will get into this habit of relying on weed for anxiety, but that's actually just perpetuating it and perpetuating the cycle. And now you do feel addicted because you're in this cycle and it's hard to break out. But there are other techniques to help with anxiety. And there's a lot of people that are willing to help you through that process, whether it's, people in your own life or people that are professionals at this. They're around, and I would just definitely recommend reaching out and trying to find a path that can help you get out of this cycle, because obviously you don't want to be there. It could be questioned. I don't really know what the effects are.
I'm sure you Google it and you can come up with some stuff, just some suggestions. There'll be enough stuff out there.
Right. But the thing with this one, and the reason I like to throw these stories in that are definitely out of our realm, is because there's definitely other people listening going through these same things.
Yeah.
And though it may be out of our realm, there's a whole group of people listening that have been through this before, can shed light on how they were able to become sober and what their experiences were. Yes,
Absolutely.
I think 100% professional help is required. I would say you are through one of the hardest parts, which is deciding you want to be sober for yourself and for your baby, which you won't get anywhere if you haven't already made that choice. Since you've made that choice, now it's just figuring out how do we get there. And I think that's where the professionals come in. I'm sure there's a plethora of plethora. You like that?
I do. There are thousands.
I'm sure there's a whole bunch of different programs and everything out there. You just got to find the right one in your area.
Plethora.
And go for it. Plethora.
Yeah, I really do think that also you have thousands of fellow watchers that are going to chime in at some of the. I'm sure there's a percentage that have definitely experienced something very close or know someone they'll have ideas for you.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of this whole community.
Yeah.
And I would honestly say that I had a great time tonight. What a pleasant surprise to see you here and jump on.
Yay.
They love you. When you come on, I read and they go, Lauren, 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 Lauren. I can hear it.
I don't believe you. They do that to you at all the live shows. If anyone's been to a live show, you know. People love to chant Jerry.
And it seems like people do it independently.
I know.
Like never knowing.
I know. I don't know who prompts it or how it happens.
Because you don't start it.
You probably do, don't you?
I do not.
Do you?
No.
No, it just all of a sudden happens at every show.
I go like this. Come on.
He's always in the middle of the audience somewhere random. Like we never know where he is when we start the show. So it actually is plausible that it's you.
It's definitely a Where's Waldo.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it.
We have a lot of fun. So I don't know if we're ever going to tour again. If we are, I think we should because it's always fun. So come to a show.
Especially if you get that knee fixed. You won't be jumping off stages anymore,
my
huh?
God. Is that what happened to your knee?
No, but I must have had my knee back in that time because I would even say sometimes it would hurt and sometimes it wouldn't.
Yeah, but then you jump off a 6-foot stage.
Yeah. And then you get in trouble.
Just the adrenaline gets you.
I had a lot of fun with
And that one time you were rolling and flopping like a fish. It was, I'll never forget that. That sight is locked in my mind. And probably everyone else who saw it.
Jerry, has gotten scolded for his stage presence from both loved ones and professionals.
It's a good life.
But we're here.
Oh my God. That's why I can't believe that you started the show saying that you were embarrassed. I can't even fathom. Oh my God. Jerry embarrassed. I didn't know that you had that feature.
I do.
It's like so heartwarming. Aww.
I'm a human just like you.
Yeah.
Anyways, everybody, come join us on Patreon. Thanks for watching us. Don't forget we have Patreons level 1, 2, 3, and we have our favorite one is Group T. So we'll see you there. You guys have anything you want to share before we say goodnight?
No, it's so nice to join you guys. I hope that...
Come back.
Yeah.
We love when you come back. You're the best.
And we hope you all find your peace.
Yeah.
And everyone, I hope you're enjoying the summer. It's... we got a lot of stuff going on, but the weather's been kind of nice.
Yeah. And everyone watch Look Both Ways.
I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
Okay, are we going to blow them a kiss goodbye? Remember?
Yeah, how do you guys sign off?
Like this.
How do you?
I love you.